I've changed the way that I have planned career days since I first started at my school. When I first started, I just sent home sign-up forms in the Kids Friday folders and asked for parent volunteers. I do it a little bit differently now because inevitably we end up with like 6 people who have the same career, which we're so appreciative that they're willing to come in, but we're trying to expose the kids to different kinds of careers. So what I do now is I reach out to specific parents and I ask the teachers, and I ask, we have a person in our school called the Parent Community Network Coordinator. I think that's a Hawaii thing. We've had those in all the schools I've worked in Hawaii, the PCNC. If they know of parents who have a career that the kids might be really interested in, we'll pick some from like different domains. Like we always want to have some people who like maybe are business owners and somebody in the medical profession, somebody maybe who's in an artistic profession, something like that, just so that we can kind of meet the needs of diverse kids at our school and what they're interested in. And I reach out to them personally. I email them, I call them, ask them if they're willing. I give them all the information so that they can block it off if they can. And I also give them the option to record a video if they aren't able to come in person on that day that we could just show at a later time. I've never had anybody actually take me up on that part of it yet. Most of them are really willing to come in if they can. But I do that first. I reach out to parents or caregivers or grandparents or whoever that might be interested in coming in different career paths. We also will reach out to people who aren't necessarily associated with the school. Like this year we had someone come in who was a professional football player in Canada and now is like a health and fitness coach, and he was brought to me by another staff member who had worked with his wife and just knew of him in the community, which was amazing. I always appreciate that I get lots of wraparound help from people who know people. So that's wonderful. And once I have those people that I've reached out to personally, I see kind of what we have so far and maybe what else we might need. I might ask teachers, do you know somebody who's in this profession, and then reach out to them. But if I get to a point where I don't have enough volunteers, and I should say I aim to have one volunteer for each classroom on campus. So what I like to do is just have one volunteer in each classroom so that classes can move as a group and rotate around to visit different professions. So if I don't have enough to have one in each classroom, I will then do the send home in the Friday folders or in the school newsletter and ask for people to sign up. And I have a QR code that they can scan to fill out a Google form, and it tells me, their name, who their kids are, what their career is, and then I kind of explain what career day looks like. We like to have short interactive things where the kids maybe can do something hands-on or practice an activity with you. Do you have ideas for what you might like to do with them? And I say, no worries if you don't, reach out to me and we'll come up with something together. And then I reiterate what time it is to make sure they're available, and I go from there. And usually we get enough people from that. If we don't, then sometimes I'll just combine classes, and that's not that big of a deal. I might combine 2 of the kindergarten classes or something like that, and they travel around together. So inevitably what happens is we get down to the wire, and I think that we're not going to have enough volunteers, and then all of a sudden at the last minute we have extra volunteers. So then I end up having to split classes in half. So the classes that do have a full-time EA in the classroom, I will split them first. Sometimes I might split the classes that I know might have a little bit more of a behavior issue in these unstructured times or different things that require a lot of flexibility. I'll split them into 2 groups first to help with the rotations, and then go from there. So that's what we ended up with this time. I think we had 3 more presenters than total number of classrooms. So I split up 3 classrooms, and it worked out great because then I was able to put a presenter in my office, which obviously is not as big as a classroom, and I just sent half classes to that presenter's group. And we had a couple that were set up outside. Like we had EMTs come and they brought an ambulance, so some of the groups went outside. It was great. We had lots of spaces and lots of places to go. And for this round, we just did 4 rotations. So during our morning block, the students rotated around to 4 different presenters for 15 minutes each with some passing time in between. And that took us kind of like from our morning to our recess time. And that was that. So in years past, I've done the morning and the middle block. It's a lot though, and that's a lot to ask of presenters to be there for an hour or 2.5 hours. So we just did an hour-and-a-half block this time, and it worked out great. I was really happy with it. All the presenters we had this year were amazing. They always are, but I'm always just so blown away with their awesome careers and how they interact with the kids, even the ones who don't normally work with kids. So it was a really fun day. And then afterwards, I have little templates that I send to the teachers for the students to write thank you notes to the presenters and then send them home with their students if they have a student, or get another way or find another way to get it to them after that. So there's a lot of like waiting around around to see who I have before I can actually plan things. Most of the actual planning and organization happens like 2 days before the event, because that's when I'm like plugging people into classrooms, splitting up classes and all that. So it's really fun. It's always worth it. It's stressful, but it feels really good once it's in place and I see all the kids interacting and having fun. So totally worth it.